We're waiting for one more commissioner, should be here shortly, and then we'll get started. My apologies for the delay. Good morning. This is Wednesday, August 19th, 2026. It is 10:11 a.m. Let's open the public meeting of the Nevada Commission on Ethics. We'll start with the roll call. Chair Scherer is here. Commissioner Langton. Here. Commissioner Miller. He's muted. Here. Commissioner Moran. I see him on.
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Thank you.
Morning. Commissioner Pancoast. Here. Commissioner Reynolds.
Here.
Schools. Here. And Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Staff list Executive Director Armstrong.
Here.
Commission Counsel Bassett.
Here.
Investigator Terry.
Here.
Acting Associate Counsel Hazlett.
I'm here.
Outreach and Education Officer Harvey.
Here.
And Executive Assistant Saldana.
Here.
You, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
for which it stands, one nation.
for liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Executive Director Armstrong, that brings us to public comment. Any public comment received by email to be read into the record?
We did, Chair. We received public comment from Dr. John Hawk relating to the agenda item regarding Ms. McCormick. In his letter, he asked the commission to consider the factual completeness of any decision, the willfulness and culpability of the subject, and proportionality and precedent when making the decision. In addition, we received public comment from a Dr. Wendy Hawk, who asked that the commission take special care to determine if Ms. McCormick's conduct, the extent to which it was willful. Both of those full public comments have been provided to the commission in your meeting vault, and will be included in the minutes when the minutes for this meeting are recorded.
Yes, the full comments will be attached to the minutes.
Correct.
And I've seen them in our materials, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
And that is, those are the only two we received from Wendy Hawk and John Hawk.
Are there any members of the public who are attending in person, none in person, or virtually who want to provide public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes of the August 3rd, 2026 commission meeting. Only commissioners who attended the August 3rd meeting may vote on this item. Commissioner Miller and Moran were absent. So any commissioners have any changes to the minutes as presented? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Also move.
Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Are there any opposed to the approval of the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved unanimously. Bringing us to item 4, we have a new commissioner, Lena St. Jules. Welcome, Commissioner St. Jules. She is new as a commissioner, but not new to the commission, as she has served as our counsel in the past. So we're excited to have her here and have her experience and background. Welcome aboard.
Pleasure to you. Thank you so much.
Item 5, discussion and potential approval of a proposed stipulated consent order concerning ethics complaint number 25-148C regarding Melissa McCormick, interim CEO, Nevada State High School, State of Nevada. Commissioner Miller served on the review panel for this matter and is precluded from participating in further proceedings pursuant to NRS 281A.220 sub 4. We have counsel for the parties Please introduce yourselves, Executive Director Armstrong.
Executive Director Armstrong representing myself.
We have counsel for Ms. McCormick on.
Yes, good morning, commissioners and all in attendance. John Bloom on behalf of Melissa McCormick.
Thank you. Executive Director Armstrong, please provide us your presentation on this stipulation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is case 25-148C regarding Melissa McCormick, who was the interim CEO of the Nevada State High School, a charter school in the state of Nevada. The commission received a complaint on or about August 18th, alleging various violations by Ms. McCormick. On September 30th of 2025, the commission accepted jurisdiction and issued an order asking the executive director to conduct an investigation. On April 22nd of this year, 2026, a review panel determined that there was credible evidence to refer the allegations of 281A 401 to 3 and 281A 420 subsection 1 to the commission for a full opinion. The parties participated in settlement discussions and propose this stipulated consent order to you today. As part of that order, Ms. McCormick is voluntarily waiving her right to a hearing and to judicial review. The parties agree that Ms. McCormick's course of conduct constitutes two non-willful violations of 281A 403, which involves contracts, executing or negotiating contracts between yourself and the public agency. The facts related to this case include that Ms. McCormick served as the interim chief executive officer of Nevada State High School beginning on April 29th, 2025. In June of 2025, Ms. McCormick executed her own employment contract for the interim chief executive officer position at an annual salary of $179,000. In addition, so Ms. McCormick had a significant pecuniary interest in her employment contract. In addition, McCormick's spouse was providing nursing services to the high school, and Ms. McCormick countersigned the contract for her spouse to continue providing those services. She had a commitment in a private capacity to her spouse pursuant to 281A 0651. The terms of the consent order are as follows. There's a 6-month period which is backdated to start on June 9th, 2026 to run through December 8th, 2026. Ms. McCormick must not have any additional violations of the ethics law during that period. In addition, she must successfully complete and coordinate ethics training for the Nevada State High School organization within 90 days of the issuance of the order or the 30th day of the school year, whichever is later. She agrees to pay a $2,500 civil penalty pursuant to 281A 790 subsection 3 within 30 days, and the Nevada State High School ethics policy will be submitted to the commission staff for review and feedback within 90 days of the consent order. In addition, the commission will issue an admonishment as part of this consent order. If at the end of the consent order period, so when we have deferral agreements, at the end of the deferral agreement, the case is dismissed. At the end of a consent order, something other than a dismissal happens. And so if Ms. McCormick complies with all the terms of the consent order, the two non-willful violations will stand, and the commission will issue a formal full opinion in the matter. If the commission determines that she had non-compliance with this consent order, then that will automatically trigger the commission to issue an order with a single willful violation of 403. The parties will be invited back to the commission to argue about what the appropriate remedies would be at that time. So this agreement and all the consideration of it, it presents, to me, an important reminder for our charter schools that they have to follow, those public charter schools that need to follow the ethics commission requirements. The terms of the consent order, the conditions placed on Nevada State High School meet the commission's goals of education, prevention, and accountability in terms of systems change, education for the entire organization, and a recognition by Ms. McCormick that the prior conduct was in violation of the ethics law. I will note, in terms of the consideration of willful and non-willful, in this particular case, there were already third parties who were, approved or signed off on these particular things. And so it's the technical actual signature on the contract. It's not as though Ms. McCormack pursued some sort of like secret contract for herself or family members. It was, that whole piece was transparent, but still was a violation of the ethics law. And so I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Executive Director Armstrong? Bloom, did you have any comments you'd like to make?
No, not at this time. I think that's a fair rendition. I'm sure that the commission's had a chance to look at the consent order and take into consideration the points put forth on pages 6 and 7 that kind of highlight some of the mitigating circumstances, but other than that, I have nothing to add.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on this matter?
Chair, I'll move the accept the terms of the proposed settlement agreement and direct commission counsel to finalize the agreement in appropriate legal form.
Do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second
Moved by Commissioner Reynolds, seconded by Commissioner Langton. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
it. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Brings us to item 6, discussion and potential approval of proposed stipulated agreement concerning ethics complaint number 25-041C regarding Jimmy Floyd, manager, construction management, Clark County, state of Nevada. We had a request from Mr. Floyd's counsel to trail this item as he's in another hearing this morning. I don't see him on the Zoom unless he's one of the anonymous phone numbers. Mr. Hardy, are you present? I don't see him, so we're going to trail this matter and we'll bring it back up when Mr. Hardy can be here. Brings us to item 7, consideration review of the draft fiscal year 2026 annual report presented by the executive director pursuant to NAC 281A 180 sub 2 and possible direction thereon. Executive Director Armstrong.
Thank you, Chair. You'll find the draft and report in your materials. I previously provided sort of some guidance on how best to review this. This is not our final product. So if you see things like, typos and stuff, certainly send them our way afterwards. But the real feedback we're looking for today from commissioners, is the format, the setup. Are there parts of our story we may not be telling that we want to make sure to include? And are there certain visuals we like over the different ones? So I'll walk you through some things that are sort of new for us this year. So if you turn to page 4, there's sort of a fiscal year in review infographic. That is a new thing that we have not done before. So that goes over sort of kind of 3 highlights of our fiscal year. We've added our adopted reputational goal to page 7, along with the commission's guiding principles. If you turn to page 8, at the bottom, you'll see we decided for each section having sort of 4 highlighted data points. And so you'll see those at the bottom. Probably need some design work to make it look pretty and stuff, but for your consideration today, do we want that at the end of each section? Page 9 focuses on our remedies and penalties for the year. We realized that our previous ones, we list them in the back. We don't necessarily provide an explanation of what they are or any indication in one place how many of each type was issued. And so some of these, there might be some that are multiple counted. So if the result of a deferral agreement included agency change and training and understanding, they're going to be counted in both of those particular ones. You'll see the advisory requests overview on page 10. You'll see those data points at the bottom again. This one has sort of a top 3 call out. So feedback on whether we want that in each section or it's fine for that to be unique. As we move to education on page 11, you'll see the data at the bottom. We haven't had a real strong part on communication. So you'll see that starting on the bottom of page 12. which is really talking about non-training communication and outreach that we do, right? And I think if you look at the graph on page 13, you can, or sorry, if you look at oh, it's in the back. Just our whole outreach approach has really grown. And so we want to make sure that gets highlighted. Page 15, we talk about our strategic plan progress. And then starting on page 17, we have our appendix. Something different in the appendix this year that we would like feedback on is the resolution really goes into the detail of what was required or involved in those particular agreements. In the past, it's just sort of said it was a stipulated agreement. So it has more detail this year. And then the visual graphs start on page 22. So if there's certain visual graphs you like or you don't like or are confusing, that feedback would be helpful for us as we work towards a final version for you to approve in October. At the very end, you can see our internal performance measures and those that we present to the legislature are on page 36 and our internal ones are on page 37. So that's the report. We're happy to take feedback and discussion. Sam is taking lots of notes during this forthcoming discussion.
Any comments, questions from commissioners?
I have a question on there. I think the report so far is very good. My concern is a breakdown of the cases that were dismissed and why they were dismissed. And what I'm hoping to show is that there was not sufficient information for us to send it out for an investigation, where there was there was no information submitted other than just the complaint. So to me, there should be a breakdown of that. I think that's instructive, both from our standpoint, but somebody looking at, okay, why did you dismiss those complaints?
Feasible, Executive Director?
Yes, we can do that.
Some of the others, obviously, there's statute of limitations.
Yeah.
It's outside our jurisdiction, even if it is.
Or not under our purview. It's a judicial matter, or there's not a public official, or et cetera.
And we're talking earlier about discrimination and harassment cases that go to the Nevada Equal Rights Commission that we don't actually have jurisdiction over claims of discrimination and harassment.
Exactly.
Yeah, that could be added. Sure.
Any other comments, questions, feedback? Do we need a motion, or can we simply give you additional feedback between now and the October meeting if anybody has?
Yeah, you don't need any motion today. If you could just provide feedback, if you provide that directly, that avoids any sort of deliberation among the members.
Okay.
But that's how we'll go from here to October.
Bringing us to item number 8, discussion and potential approval of a delegation of authority to the Executive Director to approve updated commission forms, including complaint form, advisory opinion request form, acknowledgement public records request form. Executive Director Armstrong.
Thank you, Chair. Under our statute, complaints and advisory opinions in particular have to be submitted on a form, and the language says approved by the commission. This helps us guide folks who may want to and just file a complaint, or just we get sometimes random letters and there's not any of the information. So we are working on the launch of our new case management system. In the past, if we wanted to change a form, there was always this long process of going to the vendor, making changes. And so in the new system, that's all configurable by us as the staff. And so this delegation would allow us to make any edits to that form without having to wait for a meeting and come back to you. So if we realize that there's an additional field we want, or if the law changes and we need to add a violation, we can do those things. It would be my intention to notify the commission always when that form changes, but by giving us that delegation authority, we can make those changes as we need without having to come back to the meeting. Questions, comments, concerns?
I have no concerns, again, as long as we receive prompt notice to commissioners. I think if we send those out by email, don't wait for the next meeting.
Yeah.
To let us know what changes are being made.
Yep.
Any other comments? With that, I think we will need a motion to actually delegate that authority.
I
Yeah.
move to, this is Commissioner Miller, I move to delegate the authority to the executive director to approve the updated commission forms as required by NAC 281A.255.
We have a second for that motion.
I'll second.
I'll second that motion.
The second by Commissioner Pancoast. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Bring us to item number 9, nominations and election of the commission chair and commission vice chair for the upcoming fiscal year. Are there any nominations for the position of chair and vice chair of the commission? For the
I can make nominations, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Moran.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'd like to appoint or reappoint you as the chair, and as in for vice chair, I would like to make appointment and nomination of Mr. Miller, Commissioner Miller.
Any other nominations or comments?
Commissioner Smith, I'll second Commissioner Moran's nominations for both Shear and also Vice Chair Miller.
We want to take these together or one at a time?
I'd prefer one at a time, please.
I can go ahead and make an amendment to my motion. Let's go ahead and take the chair's position first. Chairman Shear, I would like to nominate you as our chair for the next 1 year, period.
I'll second that motion.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, any questions, comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Yeah,
Any opposed? And that motion passes. We have
Mr. Chairman, I can move to nomination for vice chair. I'd like to appoint vice chair and nominate for consideration Mr. Miller, Commissioner Miller, as our vice chair.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. That concludes item number 9. Congratulations.
Mr. Chair, real quick before you go on to the next item, I just was going to say thank you for your efforts on behalf of the commission. It's been great working with you, Mr. Chairman. I feel like you've run a very, very seamless board and commission. And obviously it takes a village. We have some really good people involved in this. And again, I just wanted to thank you for your commitment. It's a big, big time commitment. I know you're very, very busy professionally and probably with your family as well. But I'm just glad that you carve out that additional time to see this board move forward successfully and the way that the governor and the legislature would like us to proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Moran. With that, brings us to item 10, report by Executive Director on agency status and operations. Executive Director Armstrong.
Yes, thank you, Chair. There's a written report in your materials. I will briefly go over that. I'll say first, right now for certainly the staff, our overarching operational item is the case management system build. In the last 2 weeks, we've already had 5 meetings with the team of the vendor. They're outlining all the requirements for the system. I'm quite impressed with their ability to understand what we do in our processes already. They're like, hey, your thing says this, but your other thing says that. They're identifying all sorts of things in that process. And our target go live date is still the end of October. So that is an aggressive implementation timeline, but we are excited about the progress so far. The recruitment for a new associate counsel, the first open application period resulted in no qualified applicants. So we have extended it. There's now an ad in the Washoe County Bar Association newsletter for the position. as well. So we are hopeful that we get some applications for that position. The budget building is basically done. I want to put on here, I realize we have some commissioners that are new since we did the whole budget thinking last year. We're requesting 3 enhancement requests in the upcoming session. The addition of an administrative assistant 3 to provide help and services for our commission council and outreach and education officer, an office relocation funding, and then a summer law clerk program. If you remember last summer, we had a law clerk, Paul. We funded that position because we had a vacant position. So I was able to just emergency appoint him for 6 weeks between his first and second year. It was, I would say, greatly successful in terms of a great opportunity to develop potential future civil government attorney workforce and an ability to get some good work done, free up some time for staff to work on some special projects. So we're asking for funding for that because if we're fully staffed, there's no kind of way to get that done. So we are excited about those 3 requests. The budgets are all, the budget system essentially gets locked on September 1st, and then it's in the governor's office for review and consideration as the governor develops his recommended budget. The legislative update. I did want to say we went to IFC last week and got approval. Part of the case management system allowed us to move money from one fiscal year to the next based on how much was spent during the setting up a system. So IFC approved that. There were no questions. They're happy with the direction we're headed. As a legislative update, we submitted our BDR through the governor's office. They had some suggested changes that we adopted. We officially have a BDR number, so our BDR is 23-181. We're currently tracking bill draft requests, that's what BDR is, for the 2027 session. I haven't checked this week, but as of last week, there were almost 400 bills already requested to be drafted. I think about 12 of those so far kind of piqued my interest just with the subject line. So we'll be working on that process as we gear up for the fund that starts in January. The interim leg ops committee has a number of bills that they're able to sponsor. They're really focused on election stuff, mail ballots, accessibility, those types of things. So there's no ethics bill in that. Last session, we did an ethics day. We'll do that again next session. On the last page of the report, you'll see recent review panel determinations and then our upcoming meeting. So in October, we'll be back in Las Vegas. And then in December, we'll be back here in Reno. At that December meeting, we'll pick all of our 2027 dates. So you should have gotten some questions about scheduling our rural meeting, at least, that we'll present at that meeting. So it's always helpful if you know your 2027 plans to the extent you can. By December, we'll go through and kind of pick where and when our meetings are. The last couple of years, we've had about 7 planned meetings, and that seems to be about right for us in terms of workload. So that's my proactive part of my report. I'm happy to answer any questions commissioners have on our operations and budget.
Any questions for Executive Director Armstrong? Seeing none, that'll conclude that item, and I see that Mr. Hardy is with us. So let's go back to item number 6. Discussion of potential approval of proposed stipulated agreement concerning ethics complaint number 25-041C regarding Jimmy Floyd, manager of construction management, Clark County, state of Nevada. Myself, Commissioner Langton, and our new Vice Chair, Commissioner Miller, all served on the review panel for this matter. So we are precluded from any further proceedings pursuant to NRS 281 or participating in any further proceedings pursuant to NRS 281A.220 sub 4. And therefore Commissioner Reynolds has agreed to present this agenda item. Commissioner Reynolds, you're muted.
Commissioner Reynolds, we can't hear you right now, muted.
Forgot to take that off.
I do it every
Okay,
time.
with that start, thank you, Chair Scheer. I'm first going to ask the council for the parties to introduce themselves. I know they're online, so please introduce yourselves to our members.
This is Ross Armstrong, Executive Director, representing myself.
And this is Brian Hardy on behalf of Mr. Floyd.
Thank you. I'm now going to ask the executive director to for his presentation, introduce this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Reynolds. This is ethics case 25041C regarding Jimmy Floyd, who is a former manager of construction management in public works for Clark County. On May 7th, 2025, the commission received the ethics complaint alleging violations of the ethics law. On June 23rd, 2025, the commission directed me as the executive director to investigate allegations of alleged violations of NRS 281-402, 403, and 409. We proceeded with an investigation, and on September 3rd, 2025, the review panel issued unanimously a determination that the allegations of 402 and 3 should proceed, and they dismissed the allegations of 400 subsection 9. 400 subsection 9 has to do with the influence of subordinates. So that allegation fell off at the review panel stage. Following the determination, Floyd and the executive director engaged in various settlement discussions. During that process, there were some concerns raised about Floyd's compliance with the cooling off provisions. And so those concerns were taken into consideration and will be addressed by this order globally. And so in lieu of an adjudicatory hearing, we present this stipulated agreement for your consideration. Importantly, that Floyd served as the manager of construction management for Clark County Public Works. He was a public employee pursuant to 281A-150. He reported to Dennis Cedarberg, who was the director of Clark County Public Works. Floyd is married to Raquel Floyd, who served as the president and shareholder of Rock Solid Project Solutions. Mr. Floyd, throughout the process, has affirmed that he disclosed his relationship to Rock Solid when he became manager to Mr. Cedarberg, and that they came up with a plan of how to handle things. Floyd has no ownership equity in Rock Solid. As the manager of construction management, he saw adjustments to the Clark County Public Works vendor scoring system. In addition, he oversaw procurement processes. In particular, in August of 2024, Clark County Public Works initiated a procurement process for the Summerlin Parkway Interchange project. In that procurement process, Diversified Consulting Services submitted a bid that indicated that Rock Solid was going to be a subcontractor on that bid. Floyd participated in the procurement process for that project under the direction of Director Cedarberg. He did not formally score or vote on the applicants in the project, and he made sure that his scores were omitted from the final evaluation matrix. It should be noted that at no point did Floyd attempt to conceal the relationship with Rock Solid. On August 4th, 2025, Clark County terminated Mr. Floyd's employment. And then prior to 1 year from that, Mr. Floyd obtained employment at Rock Solid as a vice president. While Rock Solid financially may have gained from the Floyd's conduct, it has successfully secured contracts in a number of different areas. So it's not as though the only way that Rock Solid gets a contract or work is through a project where Floyd's agency was involved. So they are, a substantial entity on their own merits. And the parties agreed to resolve this matter through this in terms of resources for both the agency and Mr. Floyd. So the terms and conclusions of the agreement note that Mr. Floyd is stipulating that his course of conduct constitutes a single willful violation of NRS 281A-400 subsection 2 that prohibits the use of a public position to secure unwarranted privileges or advantages to anyone whom the public employee has a private commitment. He had a private commitment to his wife, and therefore rock solid. And so those things that he did while at Clark County Public Works created a unwarranted privilege and advantage for her. The alleged violation, violations of 281, 403 regarding negotiating, executing contracts are dismissed by the parties. And both Mr. Floyd and the executive director stipulate the complaint regarding his post-public service employment at Rock Solid will not be pursued at this time. The factors of why the violation should be deemed willful include that there was he was involved in the procurement activities regarding the interchange project. The commission does note that Floyd has not been previously the subject of any violation of the ethics law. He has been diligent in cooperating and participating, including agreeing to go into a settlement negotiation. By coming to an agreement today, it is most efficient for the commission's resources in terms of proceeding to an adjudication and what that would take away from the commission's ability to necessarily pursue other cases. And so we're appreciative of his diligence in cooperating through that process, providing information when requested, those types of things. Although the company gained, Floyd did not directly personally receive distributions or profits from the company. And again, the Rock Solid was a subcontractor on the project. Clark County at no point engaged in a direct contract with Rock Solid. I would note that as we stated in the facts, that Mr. Floyd is no longer an employee of Clark County, which is generally, the most severe consequence from an ethics violation is removal from office, and that has been done already by the folks at Clark County. In addition, Mr. Floyd agrees to pay a civil penalty of $17,500. This represents the third highest civil penalty the commission has ever issued. We landed on that figure taking into consideration Ms. Floyd's share of the profits from the contract. They provided the work. It wasn't just a gift of money. They provided the work, but the profits of the project throughout the life of the contract, the scope of Floyd's conduct in the procurement process, noting that he did take out his scores and those types of things. And that Rock Solid is a subcontractor. The county at no point has worked to undo that contract. So they are clearly, fine with the services that are being provided under that contract. And so similar to cases where financial gain was secured for someone, but the complaint subject was not ultimately responsible for any final funding decision. This was not Floyd's final say on any particular contract. It goes through a bunch of other folks. That percentage of the profit, that $17,500, makes sense. We also consideration of the potential cooling off and saving of resources of an additional cooling off investigation were taken into consideration in that civil penalty. Floyd agrees to successfully complete ethics law training if he becomes a public officer or employee. And the parties agree that this decision will serve as a public admonishment, which is an expression of written disapproval of Floyd's conduct in the matter. This case is serious. There's longstanding conduct. Much of the conduct that may be concerning is outside of our 2-year statute of limitations, but there was clearly a pattern of conduct throughout the process. That procurement piece did happen within our statute of limitations. The conduct has threatened the public's faith in government, but Mr. Floyd today is stepping up and taking accountability for his actions in a much larger way than many of our other subjects do. And the county itself, I think, showed good judgment in taking proactive action to remedy this issue. And so with that, I ask that the commission accept this stipulated agreement and I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Thank you, Director Armstrong. Are there any other questions or comments by the commission?
Yes, I have 2 questions.
The first is, can you speak a little bit more about how you arrived at the number for the profits realized by Mr. Floyd's wife?
Yeah, so through Mr. Hardy, they presented us the contract amount that was rock solid. And then we looked at, the contract is still ongoing, so we took essentially the percentage of the invoices that represented the profit. So we got the costs on the contract and then what was being billed to the main contractor. So that profit margin was taken, and then we took a percentage of that, similar to some of our other cases like in Jardin and Harvey, recognizing that there was an ethics violation, but there is still work being done on the contract. And so I think it's roughly at about that, I don't want to give you a percentage, right? But there's a percentage of the profit that is about similar to other ones. And then we added an additional piece to that with respect to the potential cooling off violations.
My second question is, you referenced that there is conduct that you say fall with outside of the 2-year period of the statute of limitations. I have 2 questions on that. First, the statute of limitations statute discusses accrual as upon reasonable discovery of the alleged violations. Have you considered how that fits into this?
Yeah, that's if it wasn't discovered piece. I think of our statute of limitations that says it can go beyond the 2 is really hard in government because everything is pretty transparent and subject to public records requests. And so, in this case, there was some adjustment of procurement scoring that occurred beyond the 2 years. Those scores were continuing and ongoing and helped with the scoring in the interchange project. So that is kind of that piece of the statute of limitations I was talking about.
Yeah, the other, so I'm not sure that I agree with you that you're basically reading out that part of the statute by saying that accrual essentially can never be before the 2-year period or after the 2-year period because of the public records laws. I'm not sure that I can agree with that. But the other part of it is, have you looked into this notion of like an ongoing violation being one course of conduct, and whether the statute of limitations would reach back essentially to conduct that started before?
I don't believe that we have ever had a case on point in terms of that ongoing case. We do make it clear in the disclosure and abstention opinions that the commission cited that we don't recognize like you have to make a disclosure every single time, right? And so, but certainly the matrices that were used for the procurement were the ones that Floyd developed and oversaw continuously, even if the actual development and changing of them occurred beyond the 2 years. So it is an interesting question, but we don't have any good prior cases for us establishing that there can be an ongoing violation for something like that. We usually focus on when was a specific act of the public official.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other comments or questions by the commission?
I'd like a follow-up question. When were the changes in the criteria discovered? Because you've got the reasonable discovery of an alleged violation. I mean, was that discovered during this investigation?
We found it out during the investigation, but it was enacted as policy of the county, so the county was aware of the changes in the requirements.
Understood, but did they understand sort of what has come to light during this investigation? I think is what I'm trying to get at. It's like, oh, maybe this is.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. We don't have the full county investigation or determination, but they've already taken that. What I would say the most severe act from ethical issues is in terminating Mr. Floyd's employment.
Yeah, we may not have the total scope of their investigation. So we have to focus in, correct me if I'm wrong, Executive Director Armstrong, we have to focus in on what our complaint was and what we investigated in terms of the particular public official that the complaint was brought about.
Correct. And for us, when we, in looking at all of the evidence and facts that we had, we landed on that the violation of 400 subsection 2 is the most appropriate in that, and to dismiss 403 because Floyd did take active steps to remove himself from that specific final decision on the procurement and didn't execute or negotiate Rock Solid's part. That's the contractors. That's all private negotiation between contractor and subcontractor. We also have, previous opinions that say when it's a subcontractor, some of our rules don't fully apply.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hardy, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I want to make sure that I'm clear on a couple of things as well. The director, Cedarberg, in this particular matter has been very public about the fact that he did, that Mr. Floyd did notify him of the conflict relative to his spouse's company. And Mr. Floyd has affirmed during a part of this during this investigation that they were aware of that. That's one of the reasons he executed a spousal renunciation of rights relative to the company. He did so at the direction of the county, and also he did make sure that anything that would have an impact on these particular contracts, his scoring was pulled out of that in order to try to do that. So he was trying to comply with what he'd been asked to do by the county, but apparently, and he now knows that wasn't sufficient, and which is why he's agreed to the particular terms of this agreement, and understands that proceeding forward. I want to also note that we appreciate your willingness to trail this matter. I'm sitting in my car outside of the Department of Taxation today because I was in their meeting today as well. So I truly appreciate that and the hard work of the executive director. This was a fully negotiated agreement, and both sides had to make, I think, the concessions necessary in order to be able to make this happen, and in order to realize the resources and the discovery that would be taking place in this particular matter. Thank you so much, and again, I appreciate your time.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Do we have a suggested motion from the commission?
Commissioner Smith, I will, so one of, the motion I'm suggesting is actually to deny the proposed stipulated agreement and direct the commission council to move it on to the next stage for additional investigation. That is the motion that I would present.
Do we have a second to Commissioner Smith's motion?
I would second that, Janet Pankos.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion?
I'll briefly like to state the reason why. I did not feel that I had all of the sufficient facts to make a determination on this proposed agreement. I'm not saying down the road after there's further investigation, it's not viable, but the facts in front of me now, I can't support it. There are a lot of questions that we just don't have answers to, but I think we will get the answers to them with a further follow-up.
Any other comments? Executive Director Armstrong, should we take a roll call vote on this?
Sure.
Okay. With that, you want to read off the names? We'll have Elvira read off the names and we'll vote.
Fair Share and Commissioner Langford and Commissioner Miller are
Yes.
first is Commissioner Moran. How would you vote?
Yes, I'm a follow and a yes on the motion made by my colleague and seconded.
Commissioner Pankos?
I'm a yes on the motion.
Commissioner Reynolds?
I'm a yes.
Commissioner St. Jules?
Also, yes.
And Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion passes with 3 not voting that were on the panel and the remaining individuals voting yes on the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reynolds.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy, for being here, Mr. Floyd for being here. Mr. Hardy, Executive Director Armstrong will be in contact with you about further proceedings.
I look forward to that. Thank you so much for your time and efforts today.
Thank you.
Brings us to item number 11, recognition of Acting Associate Counsel Curtis Hazlett's contributions to the Nevada Commission on Ethics. Executive Director Armstrong.
Thank you, Chair. As I think everyone is aware, Acting Associate Counsel Curtis Hazlett is relocating, and so he's leaving our agency, and we want to take a moment to thank him for his service. I will say that when we hired him, it was clear he had a passion for public service, and that his focus and enthusiasm for accountability has been a welcome addition to the team. I think we've been able to give him a good expanded view on the American West, and that I truly deeply appreciate his service to the commission, and I look forward to following his accomplishments in the future. And we have a plaque in recognition that says, in recognition of your substantial contributions to the Nevada Commission on Ethics and the people of the state of Nevada. So if anybody else wishes to make comments, you're welcome to, but we want to take this moment to thank Curtis for his 2 years. It's almost exactly 2 years of service, first as a senior legal researcher and then as our acting associate counsel.
Thank you. Any comments?
I would like to say that Curtis, it's been a true pleasure working with you for the last 2 years. And you're very much going to be missed at the office. Curtis, you're smart, you're passionate about law and many things. You're very well informed legally and politically, and you made sure we were informed, and definitely have educated me about lots of things. You have a sharp legal mind, and you're an excellent writer. Your development at the commission over the last 2 years was impressive, and you've significantly contributed to the work we've done. And I just want to say I appreciate you and we'll miss you, but I know you'll have great success.
Thank you. And I also want to say thank you. We really appreciate your contributions to the commission. I've enjoyed interacting with you, and you've always been responsive to anything that we needed. I really appreciate all of your contributions. We will miss you. I understand you're not completely leaving the West, but you know, I don't know if you've got a cowboy boots and a belt buckle and you're ready to go, but all the best to you in your future endeavors. Thank you, Jerry.
I just want to say thank you as well. It was a pleasure working with you. Hope our paths cross again, but we appreciate all your service.
Thank you. Any other comments or? Seeing none, we'll move on then to item 12, which is commissioner comments. Are there any commissioner comments or any items you want to identify for future agendas? I might suggest that we have a discussion at some point in the future about statute of limitations. There is the language, as Commissioner St. Jules pointed out, Commissioner Pancoast, maybe both of them pointed out, that allows for some extension beyond the 2 years. I know that in the administrative law context, there is also the concept of continuing violation. So it might be worthwhile for us to discuss whether we want, how we want to address that going forward in the future. Not just for the case that's on the agenda today, but for other cases, and possibly even look at addressing it with a regulation or something that might provide some clear guidance going forward. Other thoughts, comments from commissioners? Seeing none, that brings us to item 13, which is public comment. Executive Director Armstrong, has the commission received any public comment by email to be read into the record?
The commission has not received any public comment during the meeting to be read into the record.
Are there any members of the public attending virtually, since there are none here in person, who would like to provide public comment? Not seeing any hands raised. We have Deputy Assistant Saldana, do you have anyone?
Yes, I'm still here. Elvira Saldana for the record. There is no one on Zoom that has indicated they would like to provide public comment.
With that, then I think that brings us to the conclusion of our meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Mr. Langton moves to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any reason we should not adjourn?
No.
If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
You're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good day.
Pardon me.